So, hello, welcome to this short video on International Youth Day. My name is Caroline Juguna. I am here to focus on the theme of the day plus the significance of the day because a lot of people are celebrating the Youth Day, but they can't really tell you what is it. The first point I think you should cover is the significance of the Youth Day. So when we ask ourselves what is a Youth Day, but the Youth Day is commemorated by the Soweto Uprising, which took part in 1967 on 16th June, where thousands of youths were ambushed by the apartheid regime. On Youth Day, the South Africans pay tribute to this youth because according to that apartheid regime, a lot of lives of those students and youths were lost. It recognizes the role of those youth in liberation of South Africa from the apartheid regime. I mean the effort they put down to make sure that South Africa was free. So in reference to the 2020 International Youth Day, the theme for today was youth engagement for global action. And it seeks to highlight the ways in which the engagement of the young people at the local, national, and the international levels is enriching the national and multilateral institutions and processes, the importance of their engagement. So we were talking about the gender inclusion of African youth in public service in a governance report. This report was given out today and you can see it online, and I've been able to look at it and go through it, and it's very beneficial and very enriching. It's a practical report rather than a policy report. You see, we have policy set, but this one is a practical report that shows the themes that are there and gives very good recommendation. So just shortly, we had a dialogue on the intersection between the youth advocacy and the political will to drive the youth inclusion into governance. Why we are saying this? Because we need to have the youth ready when we're talking about the youth advocacy, plus we also need the political will of the youth to be included into governance, because you cannot force a certain youth into governance when that person does not have the political will. So according to the report that has been given for the gender inclusion of the African youth in the public service and the government's report, it was very enriching because it showed that there was a governance gap. I mean, the people who are leading and the people who are led, there is a very big gap. We were able to see 64.4% of the leaders in terms of years, while we have 20 years in terms of the people who are led. So that governance gap shows that the leaders are significantly older. You see, it means that the youth should be involved in the policy settings of the policies are there. They should be involved in governance so that we are able to work together. So we were able to look at some things that were created to make sure that there is no distrust, because at this point there's a lot of distrust and political instability in terms of governance just because the youth have not been included. So the themes were, the first one was lowering the political and economical barriers to ensure that the youth participate. When you look at the political and economical barriers that are set in place, when we are able to lower these barriers, the youth are in a position to participate better. We talked about fostering the integration in the public service, ensure that the youth have been integrated in every process of the governance, and also formalizing the roles of independent and young technocrats. We give them a chance, to show their own skills and their own knowledge into the fields, and also institutionalizing the means for youth civic engagement. The youth need to be engaged in the youth civic engagement. Let the youth be involved in all this. And the basic point that we checked is that the youth has a role to play. Like, they should avoid taking sides when politicians start fighting, because politicians do not really take sides like forever. They will be in these sides today, tomorrow they will be in these sides. It's just politics. They play in politics. The youth should make sure that they do not take sides when it comes to politics. They should also not accept defeat. We need to go there. We are the young chaps there. We need to look at what's going on. The youth also need to be smart in terms of their way they plan their work and they execute. They need to decide on how they need to participate. You see, don't become like those that fight with you. Just decide on how you want to participate and do it intentionally. Do this role intentionally as a youth, and I know we are going to get somewhere. So we are able to look at the recommendations that were given out, and the best thing I was able to note according to this recommendation is that these recommendations are in line with the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development Global Report. There was a OECD report that was given on youth empowerment and intergenerational justice. These recommendations were just in line with the OECD Global Report. The first recommendation that was given is that the youth should adapt an intergenerational co-leadership approach across government structures. When we have an intergenerational co-leadership, we mean the youth and the older people should come together and lead together. Co-leadership. It is not youth-sided, it is not elder-sided, it is at the center where we bring both policies and we're able to work together. The second one was to lower the age requirements for entry into government and for electoral positions. When we lower the age, we are able to bring in young champs, that they are young blood that can give more and can give new knowledge into the system. The third recommendation was to remove the economical barriers, namely the high candidacy fees, for example, or allow for young electoral candidates waivers. You mean when we are going into candidature, if you're a youth, you can get a waiver to get into the system. When you're a youth, you can just be funded or something just to make sure that the youth are able to participate. The next recommendation that was given is to introduce and enforce youth quotas at every level of government and public service. We have a lot of levels, from problem statements, policy settings, up to research and everything. We need to involve the youth at every level. The youth have new knowledge. They are strong. They have new skills to bring in. So let us enforce the youth quotas at every level of the government, and we will be able to get into the set goals. The next one was to develop structured youth internship programs to train and retain youth public service. We ensure that the youth, while in school, while they are still training, they are able to get some experience on their own job through internships. These internships are able to ensure that the youth come to the field when they have the knowledge from the books and from the school, and they are also able to get the knowledge on their own job, the actual and the practical job they are supposed to go to do out of the field. The other recommendation was to appoint young technocrats and special advisors or envoys for support and entry level of government in order to drive innovators. We have youth that are very, 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 very knowledgeable about other issues in certain fields. We need to make sure that we have a certain percentage of the youth that are involved in every level of government to drive innovators into the field. Let us involve the youth. The second last recommendation that was given according to this governance report is that we should strengthen and democratize national youth councils and youth parliaments, among other structures, to ensure youth contributions across all sectors of government policies. This strengthening of the youth councils gives them a chance to be able to speak out, to air their views, and this means that when we are able to know of their actual needs, the needs that involve them, we are able to deal with them, we are able to include them, we are able to give them a chance to speak. The last one is to establish accountability mechanism to ensure reforms that will outlive political will. Accountability really needs to be everywhere. When we are not accountable as a government, when we are not accountable as a country, when we are not accountable as an organization, we are not able to move. This means we need to make the process so accountable so that we are able to engage the youth. We talk about a greater inclusion. A greater inclusion means the youth are already involved, but there's what exists. But what exists is not enough. And this is not like we are doing the youth a favor. It's a necessity for us to include the youth so that they are able to participate to the development of an organization, of a country, or any other institution out there. Leaders need to make an investment on the youth. The youth are well knowledgeable and skilled. The youth of today know what they need, and we need to come in together and make sure that the youth are included and they're given a chance. There's this notion of being there. You can't be at the table, but you can be able to change the agenda. So we are not only talking about the numbers of the youth in governance. No, we are talking about having them heard, give them a chance to contribute to the agendas. When you're at the table and you can't change the agenda, then you don't really matter. So let us give a chance for the youth to be included in governance. Let us make the world be a better place, because these youth are the youth of tomorrow. Let us give them a chance so that when tomorrow comes, we already have empowered them. We have given them a chance to work for us when they're still young. So thank you very much.